Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy. Headphones ain't working. What's going on? Hold on. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Still ain't working. Well, never mind. Good morning and welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's Shabba. Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr., we are happy and excited to be here with you on today to lead you in a very special way. Today's Good Morning Grief Devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural and normal response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. That grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is how you express it on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. That's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. Glad that you are here today. We know that small steps lead to great distances, and today we're going to take another step. Hopefully, it will lead us along our grief journey. Make sure you like, share, tag somebody in this post. If the lesson is a blessing to you, it's going to be a blessing to somebody else. So don't be stingy, don't be selfish. Make sure you share it out on today. Come on in the room. Let's dare to prepare to dive into our devotion for today. Today is day 184. Thank y'all for coming back for some more. We're going to talk about I triage my grief. I triage my grief. I triage my grief. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it, y'all. Triage means taking a close look. Taking a close and honest look at my loss, injury, and determining what needs to be done to care for it. Triage means taking a close, honest look at my loss and injury, and determining what needs to be done to care for. Now, I know you're going through, I know you're dealing with this, but have you taken a close look? Have you triaged, you know what I'm saying, your grief? Like, I'm taking a close look, and I want to see what needs to be done. When I hear that word triage, we know it's like a medical term, right? That people who, they talk about triage in the hospital, right? And it's sorting out, what does it say? Triage is the sorting of patients or projects according to their need for care or resources, right? So you take all of the patients into, you take everybody in and you begin to take a close look at what's going on, what's happening, what are the things that are taking place, what are the injuries, right? Somebody is in an accident or bullet wound, whatever the case may be. They want to triage. They want to say, we need to see everything that's going on so we know what to address immediately, right? What's the most critical? What's the most crucial? What do we need to be addressing right now? Because you got multiple injuries. What needs our attention first, right? Because if you got a hand injury but you got something that has punctured your lung, they're not going to work on your hand first. They're going to go to the lung, right? And so sometimes you got to triage your grief. Sometimes you got to take a close look at you, your situation, your circumstance. You got to take a closer look. You got to take a close look, honest look at your loss, injury, and determine what needs to be done to care for it. What needs to be done to care for? How am I affected by this loss, injury? Let me take a close look. Let me begin to analyze and break down so that I can No, I can pinpoint the problem. So I can see what injuries do I have, right? What has occurred as it relates to this grief injury, this grief wound, right? What has occurred? What needs to be addressed? What's the most immediate? How have I been affected, right? Let me write this down. Let me make a list, right? Because we know mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we know all this stuff, but looking at everything that's taking place, right? Everything that's happening, everything, a close, honest look at your grief injury and this, what needs to be addressed, right? The number of different ways you've been affected, right? And what needs to happen, right? Because a lot of times when you start talking about grief, you have secondary losses. You lost the person, but then there are secondary losses, right? You also lost a financial component to your life and living. You also lost maybe they was also your trash taker outer, right? Maybe they also was your cook, right? There are some people like what one person does all the cooking. So when that person leaves, then it's like meals, right? You used to 3 meals a day. It's like, so what do I do now? And sometimes that chicken gonna stop coming from other outside sources. And it's like, and if you don't really know how to cook, how am I about to fend for myself, right? Or whether it's an emotional wound, a mental wound, a financial wound, whatever the case may be, right? You have to triage this grief loss. You have to begin to really take an honest and close look at how you've been wounded and what needs to be addressed, what needs to be taken care of, what needs to be handled, what needs to be done. This is so very important, y'all. So I triage my loss injury. I determine what needs to be done to care for it. What needs to be done to care for it. I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief. I'm not in denial. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm exploring. I'm acknowledging that I'm experiencing grief. This is these 3 steps. I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief. Number one, I need y'all to acknowledge that. Don't be in denial. I need you to acknowledge that I'm having a natural, normal, and necessary response to this loss that I'm going through. I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief. I take stock of and name the symptom I'm having. Now I'm going to take stock. I'm going to name the symptoms that I'm having. What are you feeling, right? What are these symptoms? What are you going through? What are you dealing with? Take stock of and name the symptoms that I'm having. I allow myself to feel and express these symptoms. I'm going to allow myself to feel and express these symptoms. We continue to talk about this all the time, the power and the importance of feel, reveal, right? That's what helps you to heal. I'm going to feel and I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to feel it and I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to give myself permission to feel it, right? What are the symptoms? What are you feeling? I'm going to feel it and I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to express it. I'm going to talk about it. I do these 3 steps over and over for as long as it takes. I do these 3 steps over and over as long as it takes. What do? I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief. I take stock of and name the symptoms that I'm having. I allow myself to feel and express these symptoms. I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief. I take stock of and name the symptoms that I'm having. I allow myself to feel and express the symptoms. I do these 3 steps over and over for as long as it takes. Here's the final thought, y'all. I take a look at my grief and I give it the attention it needs and deserves. I take a look at my grief and I give it the attention it needs and deserves. What is the alternative? To ignore it and not explore it? What is the alternative to suppress it and not address it and express it? What is the alternative to conceal it and not reveal it? And where is that going to lead you? It's going to be so much more detrimental than it is going to be instrumental. And so these are the 3 steps that I need you to do as you triage your grief. I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief. I take stock of and name the symptoms that I'm having. I'll allow myself to feel and express these symptoms. I do these 3 steps over and over for as long as it takes. Today, my brothers and sisters, is day 184. Thank y'all for coming back for some more I Triage my grief. Holla at your boy. Questions if you got them. I'm here for them. If you got them, I'm here for them. If you got them, I'm here for them on today. I appreciate y'all joining us. Good morning to everybody. Yes, to those secondary losses. Yes, I'm telling you, we don't think about it. It is something to really think about. Pray for me as I grieve the vision of my marriage that I had. Ooh, Lauren. I'm telling you, Lauren, this is so good. Lauren says, pray for her as she grieves the vision of the marriage that she had, right? And so a lot of times we grieve the things that didn't happen, or we grieve what we had in mind, right? This is so very important. This is so good. I'm so glad you shared this. A lot of times we grieve what we had in mind because this is what we had in mind. This is the vision that I had for my career, for my marriage, for my life, for this situation. And remember, grief is the natural, normal, necessary response to loss, change, and transition. So, this is what I envision it would be. It's not that, right? What do you do with that? You grieve it. This is how I envision it would be. I don't know if you still married, Lauren, or if you divorced, or if it's just you're in it, but it's just not what you, right? This is what I imagine it would be. It's not that. What do you do with that? You grieve it, right? You have a natural, normal, and necessary response. You feel it. What do you do with that? I'm glad. What do you do with that? Our lesson is the perfect example. I acknowledge that I'm experiencing grief, right? I take stock of and name the symptoms that I'm having as it relates to the envisioning the marriage that I wanted to have. I allow myself to feel and express the symptoms, right? What that's exactly what you do, Lauren. You go through those steps. You go through that process. That's how you turn grief into mourning. That's how you navigate through that. The vision that I had. So many of us, we have the vision that we had. So it's, you're not only losing the person or the situation just didn't pan out the way it did. There's some people on here that lost grandbabies. You had a vision that you would see them graduate. You had a vision that they would grow up, right? And so you grieve the vision that you had. Because not only do you grieve their loss, but you're grieving the fact that I won't see them walk across the stage. I won't see them growing up. You grieve the vision that you had, the vision that you had for your marriage, the vision that you had for your life. There's a movie. We're going to do a movie club too. We're going to do a grief movie club. And I already got the movies picked out quarterly where we get together, watch a movie, have a discussion. But one of them is the 5 people you meet in heaven. That is the perfect example of grieving the vision that you had for your life, right? It's a guy who lived this life, and this is not what he envisioned. This is not what he envisioned. And he began to see the impact that he had, that even though it wasn't the vision that he had, God had another plan. But you go through the process of feeling that, of acknowledging that. You go through the process. Oh, I thought my picture was up. You go through the process. You go through the process of grieving the vision that you had, right? Acknowledging that I'm grieving and acknowledging, you're feeling and revealing. And so many of us, if we did more of that, y'all, if we did more of that on an ongoing basis, if we work that rhythm into our life, right? It's so very important. I'm revealing what I'm feeling. Thanks for this class. Good job. I am still trying to work it through. Pastor Corey, thank you. Okay, got you. Yes. Man, it's so good. Thank you for being transparent and sharing that too. You down for the movie club? Yes, we gonna make that happen. We definitely gonna make that happen. Amen to Lauren. That's the woulda, shoulda, coulda. I wonder if I've stopped blaming myself and be angry, but sin not. Yeah, we play that too. The good thing about it, Lauren and Arlethea, we process it, right? And I'm telling you, I'm gonna sound like a broken record because it's basic. It's the basic stuff, but it's so basic that it's stuff that we don't consistently do. So whatever you feeling, you process it, right? And you give yourself permission to feel and reveal. That's how you process that. Because a lot of times we feel it, but we won't say nothing. We think it's wrong. to feel how we feeling, or we don't talk to anybody about it. Who can we run to? Who can we talk to? Because we don't want everybody in our business, and so we just suffer in silence, right? And that's when we just suppress it and we just keep moving. Nah, that's not what we do, right? We get in safe places and safe spaces to where you're feeling, you got this feeling, right, about the marriage that you envision. You got this feeling. So you get into a safe place and safe space where you can reveal, where you can just let that out, where you can just say the things, right? And as you do that, that's part of the process, but that's also you're processing. You're processing your situation. You're processing the circle. You're processing, right? That's how you navigate through it. That's how you begin to that's how small steps lead to great distances. Because what's the alternative? To ignore it and never explore it. So you suffer in silence, living with this grief that that has barely been felt and never been revealed. That is barely, you barely feel it, but you never reveal it, right? And so, y'all, you got to get in safe places and safe spaces where you can have these conversations, where you can triage your grief, where you can look and see, man, this is what I'm feeling about this. This is what I'm feeling. So let me reveal it so I can navigate through it. I so needed this today. I'm so glad. God knows. Heaven knows. And I'm so glad. And I'm so glad that you are here. This is so good. Thank you. Any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? Man, I'm telling you, if you only knew, man, there's so many different things of what we had in mind. So many different things of what we had in mind, right? Children, life, career, finances, so many different things what we had in mind. And it don't pan out. So it's like, what do you do? I think that's a lot of times we hit these crises. You know, we turn certain ages. 30, oh my God, I'm turning 30. By 30, I thought I would have X, this, that, and the other done. Oh my God, I'm turning 40. I remember I turned 40, boy. I was depressed. It was a whole situation. I'm turning 40, as if 40 is a death sentence. I'm turning 40. Oh my God, I'm turning 40. And I didn't do this. I don't have $1 billion saved up. I'm not where I want to be in my career. Oh my God. We go through this, y'all, and it's what we had in mind, right? Is what the things that we had in mind, and certain dates, certain years, certain benchmarks, and it don't work out. What do? Right? Give yourself permission to feel. Give yourself permission to reveal. Process it and put it all in perspective. Right? So very important. No more questions coming through. Lauren, praying for you, lifting you up as you go through that, as you process all of that. God will definitely help you to navigate through it. And thank God for each and every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for joining us on today. I hope and pray y'all have a terrific Tuesday. Continue to feel, reveal, so that you can heal. Make sure you triage your grief as you navigate through your grief journey. I love you with the love of the Lord. Pastor Duncan, out.